Hi everyone, I'm back for the last Harry Potter ramble video. Well, kind of, because there's still the last movie coming out, which I'm gonna try to post my thoughts on immediately after I watch it tomorrow night, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that, so hopefully Wednesday at the latest. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'll try. Anyway, right now I'm going to just ramble and rant on the last Harry Potter book and the second to last movie, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. This book is obviously about Harry, Ron, and Hermione going on the Horcrux hunt so they can defeat Voldemort, and then leading up to an amazing battle scene at the end. First off, very, very different from any of the books. If you thought that the previous couple of books were, more mature, wait until you read this one. There's a lot of very intense and violent scenes in it, which I like, because it was still written in a style that I felt was suitable to most ages. Not for really younger readers, but at least 10 and above, I feel like, should be able to handle this, and maybe a little bit younger too, depending on the kid. Uh, you really see, though, how the series and the writing has grown with Harry. The little kiddie books are gone, and these books would fit more into the young adult genre, I think. But I guess because the other books were the middle grade, that these also would be considered middle grade. But yeah, really, really appealing to all ages. So everything is very different. The trio is practically grown up. Harry turns 17. Right away in the first chapter, we know that this book is going to be a bloodbath. We get a character killed right away, and then we get a much beloved character who I won't name. I'm sure you'll know, die pretty suddenly, and it's not even dwelt upon in one of the early chapters, and just more deaths follow from there. So a lot of our beloved characters meet their ends in this. It was very sad. There are just so many big important, whether battle scenes or just emotional scenes in this. This book is just full, bang, 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 chapter after chapter of amazing goodness. I remember I started reading this the night after, right after I got home from the midnight release party, and I read for 4 hours straight until my eyes were literally burning. I didn't feel physically tired. I guess I had an adrenaline rush, but I could not keep my eyes open. They hurt so bad. I was trying and trying to hold out. I couldn't do it. I had to go to bed, and I finished it the next morning. So I read it. This was probably the quickest Harry Potter book for me to read out of all of them, because less than 24 hours with several interruptions. I mean, my family just would not let me read uninterrupted that day. Didn't they know how important it was to me? Anyway, I still managed to get it done. I said this book was incredible. It was amazing. Probably the only complaints I even have about it are, I thought a couple of the camping scenes with the trio were a little bit draggy and boring at first, but when I look back, and I've reread it so many times, it's really so insignificant and actually such a small part that it just whizzes by, and I don't have any problem with it now. I really thought the epilogue was extremely cheesy at first. Some of the children's names in it I still really don't like, but I appreciate it more now. It wasn't exactly what I would have wanted, but I like the idea of it, and I like the sentiment behind it, and it's a little bit too cheesy for me, but all I can do is gush about this book. I think there are a few new characters, but no one really major is a new character in this book, but we do get to see a lot of the old characters return. Many of them at the end. We get to see a lot of people die also. The romance in it, Well, the Harry and Ginny relationship really played not second stage, probably like fifth stage. Really, they have a little bit at the beginning and barely a tiny bit at the end. It was just like kind of an afterthought. I guess Ginny didn't play that big of a role in it. I mean, in the few parts she was, I guess J.K. Rowling was trying to make her seem really cool and what a great girl, but I didn't really care either way about it. I thought that the Ron and Hermione romance, which is, they really took center stage again in comparison to the other relationships, or the romantic relationships at least, which is interesting because they're like, second, like, tier characters. They're secondary characters. Harry is the main character, so you would think that him and his romance would be number one, but it wasn't. I thought that all of their scenes and everything leading up to that was really well done. It did not take over the book or anything, which I would not have been happy with because I don't want to, read a Harry Potter romance novel. Just done in a really, really nice way. Really good development for both of them, I think. Yeah, this book made me cry more than any of the other books put together. There are just so many sad and emotional parts, especially when I listen to the audiobooks. Uh, the audiobook, I cry or I tear up when I when I read the book too, but something about the audiobook and listening to it makes me even more emotional. There is a part where a certain character dies near the end. A character that I really did not even care for. And it was just so sad. I was in tears. And then there's another scene towards the middle of the book where Harry goes back to Godric's Hollow where his parents died and he visits their graves. And maybe I should just read this scene. Okay, I'm just gonna read this scene because it is so emotional to me. Probably my reading is no good, but they were not living, thought Harry. They were gone. The empty words could not disguise the fact that his parents' moldering remains lay beneath snow and stone, indifferent, unknowing. And tears came before he could stop them, boiling hot, then instantly freezing on his face. And what was the point in wiping them off or pretending? He let them fall, his lips pressed hard together, looking down at the thick snow hiding from his eyes, the place where the last of Lily and James lay, bones now, surely, or dust. Not knowing or caring that their living son stood so near, his heart still beating, alive because of their sacrifice, and close to wishing, at this moment, that he was sleeping under the snow with them. Oh my God, I'm tearing up just rereading that paragraph. Just rereading it and seeing, it's so sad that Harry finally, gets to go back and see where his parents came from, and he's always, I can't even speak coherently about this. Just the fact that Harry, obviously was missing his parents and then almost wishing that he could be dead with them himself. Just, it's making me cry just thinking about it. So I have to move on. I better stop before I get too crazy about this. Yeah, I definitely have to give Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows like a 20 out of 10 rating. This book was amazing. It was everything that I was hoping for the end of the series and more. It was just brilliant. It tied up all of the loose ends that you wanted to know, and it was a perfect, or close to perfect, ending for the series. I have to stop. I'm just gonna go and talk about the movie now. Deathly Hallows Part 1, the movie. Okay. Yeah, this is also my favorite movie of the series. I'm still emotional about reading that that bit from the book. I would have read the other part that made me tear up, but I thought that would be a little bit too spoilery. I'm sure most people know the character that I'm talking about that has the big, like, sad, dramatic death. But just in case, I'm not going to go into it. Deathly Hallows Part 1. I was really happy that they split this movie into two parts because there are just so many important, like, necessary scenes in the book that this was the only way they could have kept all or most of them in, because I really don't know which ones they would have had to sacrifice if they cut it down, if they had it just as one film. I wouldn't be able to give any of them up. This movie was really, really, really good. The acting was phenomenal. Like I said, the trio really became their characters. I felt like in the sixth movie. In this one, I thought they couldn't get any better. They did, which was really good because for the majority of the movie, it was just the trio. After the beginning and then until close to the very end, it was just Harry, Ron, and Hermione, aka Dan, Rupert, and Emma, and thankfully they were able to hold their own so well. They did a fabulous job, all of them. I felt like all of the important scenes from the book were left in. There were some things that I wasn't happy with how they changed it, but I don't want to nitpick too much. It was still really good. Really good action-packed scenes. They did the emotional scenes really well. Beautiful, beautiful cinematography, especially during the camping scenes with the trio, which are considered some of the most boring parts of the book. It was really, really well done in the movie. And they really focused also on some of the beautiful landscapes that they went through, so I had an easier time watching it, and they did it on purpose, obviously, for the audience. It was easier to get through that way, maybe, than finding it boring in the book when you don't get to see all of this pretty stuff in front of your eyes. I did not cry in the movie until the end. As I said, it's the death scene from the book that makes me tear up too. It was so well done in the movie as well. It was even made more dramatic. One of my only complaints about the movie, well, I have a couple, is Ginny is the first one. If you thought that, the relationship wasn't handled all that well in the book, it's even worse in the movie. Again, she and Harry do not talk. They have a couple random lines that they say, smoochy smoochy, and then he forgets about her, like, for the whole movie. It's not like in the book. He was constantly thinking about Ginny, wishing he could see her. He would pull out the Marauders map just to see her name on it. And in the movie, it's like he forgets that she exists. It was kind of, I don't know, just really poorly handled. I also thought the very last scene, which is the climax of the film, is from one of my favorite chapters in the book, Malfoy Manor. It was a really well done scene, but they watered it down a little bit, and I was really disappointed. I thought as a movie scene on its own, it was really good, but compared to the book, it was like, I'm like, why are they toning this down at this point? They have all of this dark stuff going on. What are they doing? Like, putting in lighthearted bits and keeping all the really intense stuff out. I don't know. It seemed like pointless at that point in time to do that, because after everything, all of the really dark, scary stuff, at the very end of the movie is where they decide to water something down. So that made me a little bit peeved, just in comparison to the awesome book chapter. But on its own, and as a whole, as an adaptation, the movie was really good. As its own movie, it was really good, and a really good setup. I can't wait to see part 2. just one more day to go. To think at this time tomorrow I am going to be standing in line to watch the last movie, the second part, wrong side, Deathly Hallows Part 2. I probably give this a 9. I can't give it exactly a 10, 9.5. I don't know, something about the movies. There's always a few nitpicky things that are just not quite right. Maybe because the way they were done in the books was so amazing that leaves me just short of perfect. I can never give them a full 10 out of 10 rating. So, that was my last Harry Potter ramble video until I hopefully, will be gushing and rambling about the last movie tomorrow or Wednesday, whenever I can. I hope you enjoyed my crazy thoughts about all of this stuff, or at least I hope it was watchable, because I even had to cut a lot of stuff out. If you thought that I was crazy and made no sense as it was, if you had seen the unedited videos, it would have been even worse. But that's what Harry Potter does to me, and I really feel, or at least I hope, that it is going to remain a classic children's series. I mean, honestly, I think it has universal appeal to all ages, because it has an easy writing style that kids, will be able to read with no problem, but it also has a lot of stuff in it that appeals to the older audiences as well, which is why I have been able to love this series, and so many other people have, for as long as it's gone on. And I'm going to be really sad after I watch the last movie, but all good things must come to an end, and I'm looking forward to Pottermore, the new Harry Potter website. It seems like it's going to be really cool. I hope it is. Anyway, for now, I will see you guys after movie 8.